Hives, Hate to Say I Told You So. So I love that sort of stuff. That and the Strokes. Well, it's so much better than this new metal rubbish, isn't it?
Definitely.
Now, most people think we talk rubbish on air.
Yep.
If they could hear the conversations
Off
that
air.
go on, I know, but someone just emailed in saying the sun is indeed about 400 times bigger than the moon. Thanks for that. That DJ must have looked it up and said 400 times. That can't be right. It's probably it's probably a printing error. 4 times.
Yeah.
Nothing can be 400 times bigger than the moon. Carl went, yeah, but the sun, it's only got 1 million years, isn't it? I went, what? He went, on that space program, it said that in 1 million years the sun will be destroyed, and he said, and then we're all shafted. Right? I laughed. Steve went, no, it's okay. By then, we'll be on another planet.
No, I think that's true. We'll have colonised other planets.
Carl went, yeah, but there'll be no sun. Steve went, well, there's other suns, which is true. Carl went, well, I went, well, yeah, every star is a sun. Carl went, well, not really. Not really. You don't believe that, do you? And I went, no, it is. The sun is just a star. It's not even a particularly big star. Carl went, well, why didn't they say that instead of worrying me? Instead of worrying me.
In 1 million years' time.
Yeah.
I love that Carl, he's been preserved, brought back to life, and is now the ruler of the world.
Just a head in a fish tank. And he speaks like this. I am Pilkington.
The reason you became king of the universe, of course, is because of your fascinating French bread anecdote.
Oh yeah, yeah. Come
was
on
the
then.
story?
What? How did baguettes come about? If this is going to be someone cooked a loaf a bit wrong and said, "I can still make a sandwich out of it," I'm going to hit you.
that it?
No.
Go on then.
Right. Napoleon, when he was at war and that with Russia,
1812. Yeah.
yeah, all his soldiers were like, you know, not used to the cold weather and that. So they said, take some clothes in your bag with you because it's going to be
Chilly.
nippy out there. So they put all the clothes in the bag.
Sure.
Do what they were told.
Thought, oh,
It's Napoleon, for Christ's sake.
No room for any food.
No,
You're joking.
So
Couldn't they make some sort of like sandwich?
no, it wouldn't fit because of all the clothes. You had to take extra gear.
Sure.
for them. So anyway, he
I
said,
can see where
know.
this is going. I'll be honest.
Is there a baguette-shaped gap left in their holdall?
They thought, let's make some bread that you can fit down your trouser leg.
What?
That's not true. No, it's not.
I read it in Euston train station. I was waiting to go back to Manchester.
Where did you read
What,
these?
scrawled on the wall in graffiti?
Yeah.
Do you know the
Was it also meet me here for cock fun at 12 o'clock?
The upper crust sandwich shop, Euston Station. It's on the wall.
What do you mean it's on the wall?
Do you know how it says like sail on at Dixon's, whatever?
Yeah.
Next to that, there was like a bit of information. Once you've read the stuff on Dixon's,
Okay, information.
there was a big thing about the history of the baguette. I read it and I thought, oh,
Wait a minute, no, we got to make a sandwich we can fit down our trouser leg.
But how can you march and fight with a huge piece of bread down your train?
Although it would be intimidating. You see them coming, you go, sacre bleu, look at the size of them. They're big fellas. Well,
Blimey. I can't ever feel that could be a practical joke at your expense.
yeah.
wouldn't do that.
Well, the Earl of
Do you
Sandwich...
ever question anything you read? If it's printed up, is that,
Yeah.
like, fact for you then?
Well, it's not funny. I mean, if they were trying to be funny, it's like, it's not, is it? So it's
Have
information.
you heard us? Things sometimes want to be funny when they're not.
That's exactly what happened with the sandwich. The Earl of Sandwich wanted something he could fit down his pants. And it was those triangle cut sandwiches wrapped in cling film were perfect. You might be right. You might be right.
I am.
Because the Cornish pasty, so they could drop it down the mines, isn't it?
Is it?
They wrapped it up they wrapped up like meat and vegetables in pastry, and they sort of crimped it, and it was like and they dropped it down the mine. So, yeah, that's how that came about.
And bagels were originally made so that people could play hoopla, but then eat afterwards. I don't know if you're aware of that. That is true, Carl.
Well, anyway,
I call my bluff. Is one of them true?
yeah,
They're all true.
They're all true.
Tell your kids that when you have them.
Yeah.
You know, if they're still alive in 1 million years.
Well, it might be true. Can someone confirm that baguette fact that it was so Napoleon could stick it down
Not him.
his trousers? Not him, his soldiers.
His men.
Yeah.
Fascinating information. Fascinating bread information, Carl.
Radiohead.
Yeah, now this is my song for the lovers. It's a beautiful track. It's Let Down off OK Computer. It's one of my favourite Radiohead tracks. It's lovely. Right, set the tape going now if you want to tape these songs. Avalanches, frontier psychiatrist.
Absolutely.
Well, we've had lots of emails. People, obviously, we inflamed and provoked
Well,
about
actually, I have to say,
the
Rick-
Cornish pasty. I've got a couple of amendments to that. The crusty bit, you know, is actually as a handle, because obviously the miners had dirty hands, and they'd eat all the stuff in the pasty, and they'd be left with this sort of crust, and they could throw that away. Also, someone told us that at one end was an apple, so you have a little sweet as well.
No dessert.
So, there you go.
You noticed how, like, over the years we've been doing this, you know, way back when we started XFM, no one ever contributes when we ask about the music, when
No.
we ask about hip-hop,
No.
or their, you know, opinions on that, anything
No.
important.
No.
But start talking about pasties,
Yeah.
we've had about 5 phone calls.
Yeah, and someone phoned up to confirm. They used to work for Upper Crust, and basically Carl got all excited. So it is true. She went, well, I don't know if it's true. I've read the same sign you did, Carl.
Interestingly, there's an email here that says, which basically offers a history of the baguette, and talks about after the revolution, the government decreed that all of France must eat the same bread, and it was up to the bakers to bake this bread of equality. And then Napoleon kind of made sure it was particular. He kind of set in.
Yeah, obviously on the bread you can eat anything you find in the garden: frogs, snails, bits of horse,
But the
squid.
the interesting thing is, Rick, that there's no mention of sticking it down your trousers whilst going to war.
The French have tried to keep that secret for over 100
It
years,
was only
Steve.
the upper crust people.
Yeah, nearly
Yeah,
200 years, that is a top secret. Somehow Euston Station Upper Crust got hold of a document, left behind in an old sea chest, possibly Napoleon's, could have been Josephine's. Unfortunately, jotted it down. He's kicking himself now. Oh, Secretary, I cannot believe I left a note. If he talked like that.
He did.
He did that, yeah, he talked English, but in a very funny French accent.
Do you remember, there was one thing that, talking about funny French accents, you remember Allo Allo?
Yeah.
Remember, it was on about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but they still made, because it was a funny Frenchman, it was that English guy who was posing as a French police officer.
It's very complicated.
He would
plot.
often walk by, and I remember there was one where he said, I was pissing by the door when I heard a shit.
Oh yeah.
Now, that's-
passing
I'm allowed
by
to
the
say
door.
that. I'm allowed to say
Passing
that.
by the door when I heard a shot.
That's what he's saying. I'm
Yeah.
allowed to say that at 2 o'clock because I'm just saying, I'm talking in a French accent.
Yeah.
I was pissing by the door when I heard a shit.
Yeah.
That's fine,
Yeah.
because I'm speaking French, Carl.
Do you know what I mean?
That's the rule.